James Newbury from Thunder from Down Under. You saw the Invictus team with Rob Carmody as well. First part of this event, 5 rounds of 30 handstand push-ups while one athlete holds a hang from the rings, and then 5 synchro overhead squats at 2 different weighted barbells, one at 205 for the men, the other at 185 pounds.
Man, there's a ton of interference here. Feels like the 49ers secondary.
Can confirm. There are the boys. That's Noah Olson and Chandler Smith getting it work first. From them, the Thunder from Down Under is on the left side of your screen. The Olson and Smith are the first 2 to the barbells. Gamboa and Travis Williams right behind them.
It'll be interesting to see how the boys attack this, because they're so talented in a lot of these movements. They can maybe take a chance and try and go for big unbroken sets because they have the individual capacities behind it all. But who knows? We saw Noah rip through those last handstand push-ups, and he's right back to the wall.
Travis Mayer in for Chandler Smith as the boys are into round 205. Let's send it down to Jamie Hagia.
Being down here and watching these men do these handstand push-ups while their partner is holding, this is a really well-designed workout, because you're going to look at a push and a pull. A push in those handstand push-ups, a pull in that hang, and then the next 5 rounds they're going to switch that and be doing a pull on those toes to ring and then a press in that handstand. So you're going to be burning out both, and every single person on your team has to be efficient in all of those movements.
Agree completely, Jamie. I mean, we saw, you know, a team like Slightly Swole with Mark Hutchinson and Jacob Pfaff who were so strong through the shoulder girdle, able to be successful, and I mean, that's exactly why.
This is the battle for the top spot right now in this heat. On the left is Team Hercules, Logan Collins and Travis Williams. On the right, Travis Mayer and now Chandler Smith, as the boys are into their 3rd of 5 rounds here, as is Team Hercules. The boys came into the day with the overall lead, 391 total points.
You know, this is a big event for Hercules because they picked up some ground on Sam Sorella, man. It's possible they moved into a top 3 position going into this evening, so being able to fight them off and, you know, maybe put some distance between them, huge shot in the arm for their podium hopes.
Sam Sorella, man, they are in lane number 18, right next to the boys.
And after you know, event win to close out last night, you know, they came out this morning in the row swim run and really struggled. They were towards the back half of that final heat.
It's Tyler Eggeman and Philip Muscarella on the barbells right now. Muscarella is on the 185-pound barbell with his back to the camera. Eggeman is at 205. Mayhem in Paradise, it's DeChico and Luke Parker on the barbells. They won event number 5 earlier in the day. Their first event win since winning the opening event. They started the day in 11th place overall. Now that likely changed after event 5. Again, we still don't have the updated official standings after row swim run.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Sean, they're the best dressed out there. Look at those basketball jerseys. Bring a little Miami Heat vibe.
Little tribute to the local NBA team here. And the shoes match as well. They are...
I mean, of course, Sean. Why would you look so fly up top without making sure that you got the sugar foot working?
Approaching the 4-minute mark. Again, the time to beat belongs to Slightly Swole. 14 minutes, 40 seconds. Froning and DeChico now trying to catch this team. Travis Mayer and Noah Olson. Olson wearing the whoop strap. His heart rate now just 149 beats per minute. As they're getting close to closing out the first part of this event. After these 5 rounds of these handstand push-ups and synchro overhead squats, they'll go into the 5 rounds of the 30 toes to rings and the 15 synchronized overhead squats at a much lighter weight. Then 135 and 115 will be on the barbells.
A second ago, we saw Noah's heart rate around the high 140s, low 150s. Having that hold motion in there, especially from the rings, allows you to get your heart rate a little bit down. You're not necessarily going to be spiking it up, you know, into the 90th percentile or so.
So a no rep early there for Travis Mayer. So now he and Olsen have sorted things out. This is their 5th and final round of this portion of the event.
Ooh. Got to be careful here, especially in the synchro. You see each athlete, we have a tendency as you get tired to let that bar drift forward a little bit. You got to chase it. Can't do that here because you're going to drop it on your buddy.
Now the opening round of the second part of this event as Chandler Smith starts on his 30 toes to rings, and it's Travis Mayer holding the handstand. On the left side of your screen is Hercules, and it's Logan Collins and Travis Williams. So they have...
Look at the difference in kip swing there. Travis using a nice, big, smooth kip swing. You see Chandler Smith just basically almost doing it strict. Possibly doesn't quite have the shoulder mobility, so instead of opening up the hands, letting the chest get through and getting that nice, big, traditional swing, he's just kind of ripping and gripping.
Saw James Newbury hustling to the rings as Thunder from Down Under has also started the back half of this event. Chandler Smith holding that handstand hold as Mayer works through the toes to rings, but Hercules is putting a little pressure on the boys right now.
Yeah, you can see Logan Collins finishing up that set. He's one of the best on the rings. We remember back in 2018, we had the 30 muscle-ups for time. That was his best event of the weekend. He's one of the few athletes that is always in the consideration for being able to do 30 unbroken.
And now he is in the lead with Travis Williams. They got to the barbells first. Williams at 135, Logan Collins at 115. They have overtaken the boys on the right side of your screen for the top spot in this heat. Barbells down. Williams tags in Roy Gamboa, and they will head back to the rings. Here comes Noah Olsen to help out Chandler Smith. So it's just a slight lead now for Hercules over the boys. Here are your top 3 teams in the vaunted triple box. On the left, it's Hercules. In the middle, the boys. And on the right, Sam Sorella-Man has now moved into 3rd place.
The rarely seen, often lauded triple box. Always nice to see the top 3 teams working in unison.
Collins is off, and he will switch out with Gamboa as Olsen and Chandler Smith work. It's Samsonoff and Egeman, I think, for Sam Sorella-Man on the right side of your screen.
Again, you can see Chandler Smith basically just doing them strict, not even really using any sort of upper body motion to try and drive that kip. He's lucky he's so dang strong that he can rip that.
Now the boys are back in front as Olsen and Smith get to the barbell for round 2 ahead of Collins and Gamboa. 15 reps here.
Part of the benefit of Chandler being so strong to do it almost strict is faster. You know, you see kind of a shortened kip swing for toes to bar more often than not. You don't see this much with the rings because you get the added benefit of the mobility of the rings to add to the kip swing, but if you can do it, certainly pick up a few seconds.
Just the battle for top 3 is now Rich Froning and Mayhem in Paradise. They are in the second part of this event. Froning and DeChico working together. Luke Parker will be up next, assuming they're going to swap somebody out here. Froning at 135, DeChico at 115. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to have Rich Froning just staring at you during a competition while you're working. No pressure.
You remember when in Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they opened up the Ark of the Covenant? I imagine it's something like that. Can't look at it directly.
It's just too powerful. Here comes Luke Parker in for DeChico. Travis Mayer and Noah Olsen are still in the lead here in round 3 of 5 of these toes to rings and synchro overhead squats. Time to beat, slightly swole at 14 minutes, 40 seconds.
We've been seeing Noah kind of shorten up his kip a little bit. You know, one of the byproducts of all this shoulder work, everything starts to fill up with blood. Not quite as mobile overhead. Maybe they're just trying to be less active through the shoulders during the toes to rings to kind of give them a break.
Now Olsen and Mayer starting to open up a little bit of distance between themselves and Hercules on the left. Sam Sorella-Man on the right side of your screen. Phil Muscarella and Dennis Samsonov. still in third place, and they are right next to Mayer and Olsen on the floor. Chandler Smith in for Olsen. This is the 4th of 5 rounds now. 30 more toes to rings. There goes Collins and Williams, and I don't think they subbed anybody out there.
I think Gamboa popped out.
So Gamboa did pop out. I looked away for a second, and it looked like the same 2 guys were on the floor.
I got you.
Appreciate the help. Logan Collins on the rings, and it's Travis Williams holding the handstand. Then it's Samsonov holding the handstand for Sam Sorelaman, and it's Tyler Eggeman on the toes to rings. Again, Sam Sorelaman at the beginning of the day, this is prior to event 5, they were in 3rd place overall.
And it's important that they get ahead of Hercules here, because Hercules beat them on the row, swim, run.
And Hercules is only 9 points back of Sam Sorelaman for 3rd coming into the day. Logan Collins is only 2 reps behind Travis Mayer here. Now Mayer and Smith going to the barbell. Here come Williams and Collins. Closing out round 4 here. And Hercules is pulled even with Smith and Mayer. This one's going to come down to that 5th and final round. It looks like Mayer and Smith may have a slightly faster pace on these synchro overhead squats. 135 and 115 on those barbells. Mayer tagging in Noah Olsen. Smith tags in Gamboa, or pardon me, Williams tags in Gamboa.
And the nice part about this rotation, this has been the fastest grouping for the boys, with Noah and Chandler both ripping these toes to ring just a little bit faster than the long, smooth kit of Roy Gamboa. Remember, they're about 1 rep apart getting to the rings. It's looking like Noah's picked up a couple reps.
And Noah Olsen, a much faster turnover rate than Roy Gamboa. And now a no rep. So that one's not going to count, as Chandler Smith will switch out. Roy Gamboa continues to work as Logan Collins holds that handstand. And look how fast Chandler Smith is on the right side of your screen. 14:40 is the time to beat. It looks like that's going to be going down. Gamboa is going to do all 30 of them.
And that's what
the boys are done.
And that's what Logan Collins did in the last round to make up some ground.
Collins came off early, and they're still going to give Gamboa credit, so they get away with one there. But it doesn't look like it's going to matter, because Noah Olsen and Chandler Smith looking to bring home the 3rd event win for the boys here at Wodapalooza in their final 3 repetitions. The barbells are down for Gamboa and Collins. They switch. Chandler Smith hits the buzzer, and the boys bring home another win.
Just a maniacal pace from the boys on those last overhead squats, even after all the shoulder work that they've done.
Now Hercules looks to maybe put themselves into, if not 3rd, solidly maybe into 2nd place, because they are ahead of both Sam Sorelaman and the Thunder from Down Under. We have yet to get the official updated standings after event 5, but Hercules really having a good Saturday here, as Rich Roning and Angelo DeChico are off the wall and onto the barbell for what should be their 5th and final round.
And you can see in the background, Thunder from Down Under just finally getting to their last barbell.
The Minutemen are closest to the camera. They're trying to put a little pressure on Froning and DeChico, and they have a really fast pace here, and DeChico gets in just ahead of the Minutemen. But all these teams faster than Slightly Swole, 14:40, and there is James Newberry making the touch.
That's a good sign for the Hercules crew.
As Hercules is able to gain some more ground on the Thunder from Down Under and Sam Sorelaman.
See the French GoWad team.
And they are just done with round 4, so they're moving into their 5th and final round.
This one's going to be tough for Willie George. You know, he's coming off a shoulder surgery. one of the things that he mentioned, I bumped into him in Dubai, was that he still doesn't quite have all of the awareness about where things are overhead. So he can get a barbell overhead, but he can't quite feel where that position is.
There was some confusion there with the boys. It looked like they finished, then a judge came up and was talking to them. I don't know if they have a couple reps remaining or what, but there was definitely some confusion there with them. So they had one more rep remaining before they got across, but now they are done and in.
And that's
2.5 men. And there's the Smith Bros.
I think we should rename them. The law offices of Smith, Horner, and Dancer.
That's a good one. The final seconds here as the Go Wod French team doesn't look like they're going to be able to make it inside the time cap. Event 6 belongs to the boys, their third event win of this competition, as they were able to outduel Hercules in the latter part of this event.
It was a good race.